What's up, everyone? Bryce Gelman here. It has been a minute. It has been a minute. I feel like I say that every single time. I come on here and I say, maybe I should just start streaming more. Maybe I shouldn't have to say that at the start of every single live stream. I'm Bryce Gelman. Read the title. You see the title. We're going to be talking about John Harbaugh. We're going to be talking about the Giants, those rumors, and I also want to get into the Yankees and Cody Bellinger. Yankees actually just made a trade. Stay tuned for that. Going to get into all that kind of stuff. I mean, the trade just happened 20 minutes ago. I did all the research I possibly could have done in the last 20 minutes. We're going to talk about that. Stay tuned. But first, we got to open with this. We have to open with the John Harbaugh news. And that is, there is no news. There has been a lot put out there, specifically over the past week. I think it's been a week to the day that John Harbaugh got fired by the Ravens, which to some people was a shock. To me personally, I could have seen it coming, considering what I'll say is the writing was on the wall. There were a lot of Ravens fans up in arms about John and all that kind of stuff. Hold on, got his balls in here, and there were people who were up in arms. And if you've seen the graphics put out there about the blown leads that Harbaugh presided over with the Ravens, you can understand why the writing was on the wall. So he gets fired. He takes a week or a few days to relax or whatever the hell, and you didn't hear anything concrete. You didn't hear he's got interest in this team specifically. He's going to interview with this team. We heard this about 4 or 5 days ago. So you had the 3 or 4 days of nothing, of radio silence, and now here you go. And from the onset, the Giants emerged as one of the favorites, if not the favorite. And up until today or yesterday, it looked like the Giants were in the lead. And I'm not going to say it wasn't close, but they were in the lead. It wasn't. There was. I guess the Falcons were right behind them, and that was. It was more like 1 and then 2, and now it's 1A, 1B, and 1C. John Harbaugh has interest, not in just the Giants, but in the Falcons and the Titans as well. And this is now a major development. The Titans came out of nowhere. They weren't even part of the equation. And now all of a sudden, here they are at the forefront of what is turning out to be one of the most sought-after coaching candidates in recent memory. Maybe in my life. The Giants have sent an all-out blitz. Chris Mara has flown to John Harbaugh's house. They had lunch or dinner, whatever the hell it was. You've got Brian Daboll. Let me say this. Let me get this out of the way. What a class act that Brian Daboll is. What a class act. I never thought he was a bad football coach. Never. He's a great offensive mind. He is the one who identified Jackson Dart and was the one who fought to get him drafted. It wasn't Joe Shane. It was Brian Daboll. Now, on the flip side, Brian Daboll was an immature man-child. This is something that he's got PR people. He's got people in his ear. How are you going to reform your reputation? How are you going to improve your image in the public? This is a good start. It's a good way to go about that. Shows that there's no ill will between Brian Daboll, the Giants organization, and it shows the rest of the NFL, hey, maybe this guy is growing. So props to Brian Daboll, whether it's authentic or not. He's making the right move here. I don't like to see him not be able to find another head coach job. Again, he's a great offensive mind. He deserves another head coaching role. That's if he's able to mature and get along with his coordinators and his assistants. So I got that out of the way. I digress. Back to what we're talking about here. John Harbaugh. So now you got Brian Daboll calling. You've got Tom Coughlin and Eli Manning placing calls to John Harbaugh. You've got an all-out blitz. Everyone and their mothers is reaching out. I hate to be like this. I hate to be all glass half empty. Chicken Little, sky is falling. You guys know how this is going to end, right? You're all aware of how these sweepstakes are going to end, right? John Harbaugh is going to be sought after by the Giants. He already is. There are a bunch of other teams also chasing the prize of him as a head coach. And up until this point, it seemed like the Giants were in the lead. It wasn't like there was two other teams neck and neck with them. And now all of a sudden today, the Tennessee Titans come out of nowhere. They appear out of thin air. And there are a multitude of different ways that you could look at that. On one hand, you could think, all right, maybe this is a smokescreen. Maybe this is Harbaugh's camp putting this out there so he can get more of what he wants from the Giants, if that's the eventual team that he wants to go to. Maybe this is his way of, I don't want Joe Schoen there. You got to fire Joe Schoen, and then I'll come to the Giants. And on the flip side, this might be just the fact that John Harbaugh thinks that Cam Ward has a better future and has more potential than Jackson Dart. That's pretty plausible. It is. Now, whether you agree with it or not, I think all of us collectively, the entire Giants fan base, knows less about football than John Harbaugh. He has made the playoffs in his coaching career 66 2/3 of the time because clearly he's got a great mind for the game. So if he thinks that Cam Ward is a better quarterback, has a better future, there might be some fire to that and not just smoke. I don't know which side of the equation, which side of the coin that I'm on right now, but both sides are plausible. But yeah, all of a sudden, you've got the Titans appearing. And now the Giants, Falcons, and the Titans emerge as favorites to land John Harbaugh. And the reason why I have this pessimistic look to the whole situation is not based on what I've read. It's based on how I feel. Being a fan of a team that has consistently failed to meet expectations both on the field and off the field as well. There is nothing telling us directly to our face that the Giants won't get John Harbaugh. No one is saying that. But now the Titans come out of nowhere. They emerge out of thin air. Doesn't that give you the sense that this is going to shit? Doesn't the news that Tom Coughlin, Brian Dable, Eli Manning have all reached out to John Harbaugh? And bear with me, I cannot pronounce John Harbaugh consistently. If they hire him, I'll figure it out. But for now, bear with me. I suck at it. You can watch or listen to One Giant Step. This has been an issue for a while. So bear with me there. But with all those people reaching out to him, doesn't this remind you of the Knicks' pursuit of LeBron James in 2010? You know, recently Pablo Torre put out the recruitment video that the Knicks made for LeBron James. It featured all of the Sopranos actors, and in the timeline of the Sopranos, the last time that those characters exist. And you've got actors. You've got this person. You got that person. All these people reached out to LeBron through that video, through back channels, through whatever. And look how that turned out. And now you might say, Bryce, that's a completely different story. These are two different sports, two different franchises. Let me enlighten you to the fact that in 2010, the Knicks were looked at as an incompetent franchise. It had been multiple years since the last time the Knicks made the playoffs. They were not looked at as an enticing free agent location. And now you look at the New York Giants. They are somewhat of a desirable spot. They've got Jackson Dart. They have, if given the right defensive coordinator, the best defensive line in the entire sport. They've got Malik Neighbors. They've got Cam Scatterbo. They have the foundation built. They are still the New York Giants. They are still the team that has only made the playoffs twice since the last time they won the Super Bowl in 2011. You could change the circumstances. You could change the personnel. You can't change the owner. In this case, it appears that you can't change the GM. That is my concern. And that is why I come back to this. If you're just joining now, I'm Bryce Gelman, talking about John Harbaugh. I can't do it. Talking about the Giants and those rumors and all that kind of stuff. But I come back to this original point, the fact that I am pessimistic about what the Giants might do here and who they might end up getting to be their next head coach. I'd be through the frickin' moon if the Giants landed John Harbaugh. It would effectively change the outlook of the franchise, not on a short-term basis, but a long-term basis as well. Harbaugh has been amazing at identifying talent on the field and off of it as well in terms of his coordinators and his coaches. If they hire him and he gets the offensive coordinator role right, knock on wood, but this is a Super Bowl contender. It is. All right? Say the quiet part out loud. This team is a Super Bowl contender if they get these hires right. And you could say that's true for a lot of different teams in the NFL. You said it with the Patriots. They hired Mike Vrabel. Look where they're at right now in the divisional round with the home playoff game. You look elsewhere around the league and how their fortunes have changed when they've hired good head coaches. This is an incompetent organization with someone that a lot of people think is an incompetent GM. It could be far-fetched to say that this is impossible. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you that it is possible. It is okay to have hope. If you want to listen to me, if you're watching this right now and you heard what I had to say, you're pessimistic, Bryce, you're Mr. Negative, you have no idea what you're talking about, fine. Go for it. I hope you're right. I hope I eat my words here. I just get those vibes. Don't you? Don't you also feel that in the end, the Giants are going to fuck this up? I hate to feel this way. I hate it. But I'll believe it when I see it. And this whole emergence of the Texans here, the Texans, still thinking about that performance last night. That was, jeez. How amazing are they? But the emergence of the Titans here has changed everything. Ian O'Connor has been the best on this. He has. If you don't follow him at Ian _ just look him up, Ian O'Connor. He works for The Athletic. He's been all over this. He has been all over this. And, he's reported that all these different former coaches for the Giants have reached out to Harbaugh. He also reported that Chris Mara went down to wherever John Harbaugh lives. I forgot where he lives, and met with him. The Giants are doing everything in their power to get him. They are going all in. And what happens when you go all in and you lose that hand? What are you left with? You're left with nothing. So the Giants better frickin' hope that if they lose out on John Harbaugh, that Kevin Stefanski is right there. They better hope that Shula is right there. Chris Shula is right there. They better hope that Jesse Minter is right there. They better hope that Clint Kubiak is right there. That is my biggest concern. The fact that the Giants are going this all out, balls to the wall, to get Harbaugh. And let's say he drags this out, drags this along for weeks and weeks and weeks. Well, you know what, guys? Every other sought-after head coach candidate is going to get picked up. They are going to get signed. They are going to find teams. They're going to find homes. No one is going to wait out these jobs. Maybe the Giants' job. Because from everything you've heard, this is the most sought-after open role in the NFL right now. That's why John Harbaugh is even considering it. With their incompetent ownership and their competent GM, it says a lot about the personnel. It says a lot about the talent on paper. But I'm concerned. And I'd love to know what you think. I would. Talk me off the ledge. Tell me everything's going to be okay. Tuck me into bed and put me to sleep. Because I cannot find a positive angle to look at in my mind. I can't. And again, if you know me, if you watch me, if you haven't, welcome. You know that I tend to get like this. That I tend to look at things pessimistically. That's definitely not a word. But I tend to look at things the opposite of rose-colored glasses. It's the opposite of that. Whatever you call that. It's just who I am in a sense. And I'm working on it, guys. I'm working on it. No more complaining. This isn't a complaint, though. This is general vibes that I feel here. It is difficult for me to sit here and tell you that the Giants are for sure going to get John Harbaugh. I can't do it. I can't do it. And this whole process, this whole situation, based on everything that we've seen from this franchise over the last 15 years, screams they are going to fuck this up. Does it not? Does it not? And I think that this point was reiterated today when we woke up and we saw that magically the Titans are now part of that upper echelon of teams that are favored to get John Harbaugh. And Kashi and the poly market bullshit, I think it's ruining this country. I think it's ruining the world. Every single fucking account is somehow sponsored by that. I don't know how they have any money left. But Polymarket had the Giants at 62% or whatever yesterday as the favorites to get John Harbaugh. And obviously everything's fluid and things can change, but I'd love to know what the odds are on that now. And of course there isn't a truth to this. It's just how much people bet on it. But with how much insider trading there is surrounding it with the administration and all these other billionaires, I wouldn't be surprised if those were relatively correct. You know, kind of on point. Listen, they're not completely wrong all the time. Maybe there's people betting, other teams to try to drive up their value, and then they sell. I don't know how it works, but that's what it was yesterday. That's what it was. So, Giants are of course all in on Harbaugh. They're also in on Lou Anarumo. They're also in on Kevin Stefanski. There's no guarantee that they get any of their top guys. They're putting all their eggs in one basket, and that's why I'm concerned. It's that. It's the fact that if this goes to shit, they're fucked. They're screwed. This is a very risky situation. And I'm not sitting here and telling you that it's not worth it. There are some teams in some cities that have this conservative approach when it comes to going out and getting top talent, making big swings, whether it be coaching hires or big trades. And that's not something that this city is lacking. It never has been. But one thing we have not seen from the two football teams is this. Is an all-out blitz for one of the best available coaches in a coaching cycle ever. That's why I look at this with some trepidation. Trying to remove myself, trying to remove the emotion from it, and to look at the situation objectively. The situation is we don't know shit. We don't know a thing. And I'm anxiously awaiting the notification that tells us where John Harbaugh is going. I'm scared, guys. I'm scared. I'm fearful over this situation. How could he not be? All these years of incompetence, and they have the opportunity to bring in a guy who is the ultimate floor raiser. The ultimate floor raiser. A guy who made the playoffs 2 out of every 3 years with the Ravens. One of the most consistent teams and one of the most, throughout the coach's tenure, I think Tomlin and Harbaugh, I think, are 1A and 1B in terms of regular season sustained success. And both of those guys have a Super Bowl. That, of course, helps them too. Speaking of Tomlin, he and the Steelers agreed to part ways. He stepped down, which, of course, means that I think he'll take a year off to do TV, and then he'll come back, and then a team, probably the Jets. The Jets are going to have to give draft compensation to the Steelers to hire Mike Tomlin, whichever team ends up hiring him. It won't be the Steelers. He won't go away for a year and then come back. But yeah, that situation there as well. It's unbelievable. The head coaches on the market right now. Giants lucked out in that sense. They did. Like, which of the top candidates would have wanted to come to the Giants last year? They didn't have a quarterback. They had nothing. So let's see. I'm sure I don't speak just for myself here when I say that I'm anxiously awaiting, checking my phone all the time, seeing what Ian Rappaport or Adam Schefter is going to put out about where John Harbaugh lands. But I think this week is when the Giants are going to bring him in for an official interview. They have not officially offered him the job yet. I think they might have to interview him in person first. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I assume that is going to come very soon. With the Giants having former coaches and Eli Manning reaching out to Harbaugh, it's obvious where this is going and what they want to do here. That'll do it for the Giants talk. Check out One Giant Step with Sean Morash and I, wherever you get your podcast, on the WFAN YouTube. If you want to hear Giants talk from me and Sean, check that out. I of course will talk Giants throughout this week and throughout the offseason, but if you want to hear my weekly takes on that, and this isn't enough for you, check that out. But let's get into something else today, and that's what the hell is going on with the Yankees and Cody Bellinger. At first, it was reported, and this is a few days ago, and everything's fluid and things are changing. A couple days ago, it was reported that the Yankees and Cody Bellinger are probably going to look to move on from each other, and now it's been reported that no other team is in on Cody Bellinger. It looks like they're hammering out final details to sign him. Don't quote me on that. It's not guaranteed. Could happen. All right. Cody Bellinger came out. His agent, Scott Boras, who's notoriously a prick, came out, brought all the teams together in MLB that had any interest in Cody Bellinger, and said, This is our asking price. We want $37 million a year. $37 million. Over a 7-year span. They had the audacity, Boris and Bellinger, to ask the Yankees for that. And the Yankees countered their latest offer, 5 years and $155 million, which is more than enough. It's more than fair. For a guy that a couple of years ago had zero value. Traded away from the Dodgers for nothing. He is not close to his MVP form. He had a good season last year. Had a good season the year before with the Cubs. Congratulations. You think he deserves $37 million a year over 7 years? Get lost. And I think that that's what teams have told Cody Bellinger. At least they've given those vibes. The Yankees have no choice. It's either that or they give Kyle Tucker 6, 7 years, or they do what the Mets are trying to do right now, which is offer Kyle Tucker $50 million a year over 3 or 4 years with opt-outs. And that's not something the Yankees have done at all over the tenure of Brian Cashman. They don't do that. Not to say that it isn't smart, but they prefer to give longer contracts and respectable AAVs, but nothing like this. Nothing like what the Mets are offering Kyle Tucker. And of course, Kyle Tucker on the Yankees is what everyone wanted. Just that's never happening now, considering the fact that, that's what his ask is. And, the Yankees are not involved in trying to get him. That is the Mets, the Blue Jays, and the Dodgers. If they ruining baseball. I just, as a Yankees fan, it's difficult when, you wake up every day and open your phone and it's like speculation after speculation after speculation. Guys, we just want news. We want moves. We want something to happen. It's like that meme of the guy with the stick poking whatever. Like, come on, do something. That's what we all want the Yankees to do right now, whether it be anything or whatever. But now that I say that, just happened about an hour ago. The Yankees made a trade. They made a trade. They traded for Ryan Weathers from the Marlins, 4 minor leaguers. Weathers, it was the 8th overall pick in the 2018 draft. So he had some sort of hype surrounding him. He had the potential. He had the intangibles, great scouting grades and a profile to get drafted that high. He has just faced a lot of injuries. Only started 8 games last season. He's a lefty. Great pitch mix, but he cannot stay on the field. But I think if I could explain the Yankees' mindset, if I was Brian Cashman, the Yankees will be without Garrett Cole for the first month or so. Will be without Carlos Rodon for the first couple of months. They need guys who are ready on day one, who can come in and pitch like MLB pitchers are supposed to pitch. 4th or 5th guy in a rotation. Yeah, Ryan Weathers is extremely injury prone. He's a starter, has never pitched over 100 innings in his career. Not good. Not good. And the Yankees give up 4 prospects. And these aren't top prospects, but they're prospects, and it's 4. And you hope one of those guys doesn't pan out, but clearly the Yankees felt the need to make a move. I just look at what they did last year. Their bats flamed out in the way they have, and we're sitting here January 13th, a month removed from the winter meetings, and they haven't done shit. Had they done a single thing to improve their lineup? Had they done a thing? No. And you hear they're engaged in trade talks with the Cubs for Nico Horning. They're engaged in contract talks for Bo Bichette. Now the Red Sox are too. They lost out on Alex Bregman. Just a lot of uncertainty surrounding the Yankees. And again, it's why it's difficult, to wake up every day and check your phone and there's nothing. No Yankees. Oh, congratulations. They made a trade for Ryan Weathers. Yeah, that's really moving the needle, all right? You got me all bricked up over that. Come on. Come on. All right. I need to eat dinner. I just want to do a quick thing here. Harbaugh, hopefully we have news, some clarity in the coming days. If it happens, be sure to tune in. I'll go live immediately, no matter when it is. Well, hopefully it's not, in the middle of the day when I have work. But if not, I'll be going live. Stay tuned for that. And hopefully it's good news. Hopefully it's a celebratory live stream and not a depressing live stream. And we'll see about the Yankees and Bellinger. Maybe I'll fire up a live there too. So stay tuned. Thanks everyone for checking me out tonight. And listen, if you enjoyed this, please subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube and if you're watching it on Twitter, a follow will be much appreciated. You'll get more content like this. I promise. I won't have to say every time I start up a live stream, it's good to be back. Long time no speak. Consistency going forward will be the norm. Stay tuned. More regular posting schedules and streaming schedules coming your way. So check those out. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Speak to you all very soon. Peace out.